When you think of a burger, what you need is a great sauce. And unlike smoky barbecue, it goes hand in glove with a great burger.
Start by finely chopping 1 onion and 3 cloves of garlic.
Nice hot pan, tablespoon of olive oil, onions and garlic into the pan, salt and pepper, a nice tablespoon of brown sugar, a nice teaspoon of smoked paprika, onions and garlic beautifully caramelised, cider vinegar in, reduce that down,
In pre-made Worcester sauce and tomato ketchup.
cook that out for 2 to 3 minutes. Take that out.
To give my mix a really interesting flavour and texture, I'm going to be using unsmoked back bacon.
A little teaspoon of olive oil, bacon in. Shallots are a lot sweeter than your normal white onion. Fine, 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 and in. Now that bacon's getting really nice and crispy, I want a bit of heat in there. Put a little teaspoon of smoked paprika in there. And when you see these sliders in the States, for one portion there's like 4 or 5 of them, little mini one-biters. Incredible. Now, take your pork, just open it up, and give that a really nice seasoning. So important. You can't season a slider after you've cooked it. It's impossible. So, season it nicely. Bacon. Now that's nice and crispy. Just take a little touch kitchen roll and just drain that off there. Nice. Pat that nice and dry. I want all that nice sort of crispiness in there. Beautiful. Mix all that in. Take a nice ball and sort of roll it size of a golf ball. Get it nice and round first, and then 3 fingers. Just pat that down. Don't flatten them too thin, otherwise they overcook and they go sort of dry.
Because sliders are bite-sized burgers designed to go in small buns, you don't want to make them too big.
Good. Get the pan nice and hot. Tablespoon of olive oil. When a slider is literally that thick, about 1 inch thick, you're going to take 2.5 to 3 minutes each side. In. Turn them over. Lovely. Once you've turned them, tilt the pan and just spoon all that juice back into them. Even my mouth's watering now. Very easy to dry the pork out, so just feeling it now with your fingers is nice and firm. It's a little touch of springiness in the centre. I'm happy with those.
Add your cheese now so it gets nicely melted. I'm using wedges of smoked cheddar.
And it adds that nice sort of soury, smoky creaminess to the slider.
Finally, shred a baby gem lettuce.
And just take those buns, make sure they're sliced nice and evenly. Take your lettuce, be quite generous with the lettuce. Just a nice thin slice of tomato. Take your burgers. You can see that cheese. Beautifully melted. Your barbecue sauce. Place the top on. And that is my version of a slider that is small, dynamic, but packed full of flavour. I'll take that over a hamburger any day.
A fantastically aromatic, melt-in-the-mouth treat. Pork neck curry with mango salsa. For the curry paste, add chopped lemongrass, chilli, fresh ginger, garlic and kaffir lime leaf to a pestle and mortar. Next, put in aromatic ground cinnamon and coriander, a pinch of salt, black pepper, then bash it into a rough paste. Finally, add olive oil to loosen and your paste is done. Now onto the pork neck. Add a glug of olive oil to a hot pan and brown the diced meat carefully. Making sure each side hits the heat, locking in that flavour. Remove, and in the same pan, cook sliced onions until brown around the edges. Add the curry paste and fry to release all the intense flavours. Then put the pork back in, along with the coconut milk and stir. Next, add chicken stock, palm sugar, more kaffir lime leaves, soy sauce, and fish sauce to taste. Then simply simmer for an hour. Slow cooked for succulence, spicy, super easy to make, and wonderful served with fresh mango salsa, pork neck curry. Slow roasted pork belly with fennel.
Slow roasting works better on fattier, tougher and unfashionable cuts. Whether it's a cheek or even a neck or this amazing pork belly, it's a fantastic way to transform cheap cuts into amazing melting perfection. Take a very sharp knife, bring the pork belly towards you so you're over it and you've got all that pressure and weight. Using the tip of the knife, I'm just sort of nicking it and go across the pork belly. Long strokes with the knife. Take your time. Turn it 180. This time, what we're doing is just sort of cutting those nice little sort of diamonds. But as that starts roasting on top, it starts getting nice and crispy. Take little handfuls of salt and just sort of rub it in. Bend it over and in all those cracks. Really helps to get a nice, crisp crackling on top. Roasting tray. Get it really nice and hot. Take a whole bowl of fennel.
To intensify flavour and to keep the meat succulent, I'm braising my pork belly with strong, vibrant spices and vegetables. Crush and peel 3 whole cloves of garlic and add to the fennel.
Olive oil in. Fennel in. I like the nice, strong, aniseed flavour that goes with that nice, rich, dense pork. Fennel seeds. Delicious. Star anise in. And just a couple of cardamom seeds. And wow, they're like little bangers, like little firecrackers. Incredible. Lovely. Fresh bay leaves. Get your pork skin side down. Just sear the top of that fat. That locks in all that amazing flavour. Then I'm going to flip it over and get it nice and crispy. And then I want fennel seeds embedded in those little cracks. Now, some white wine. The minute that white wine hits that pan, you can just smell that light fragrance of the fennel.
Allow the wine to bubble away and reduce until the alcohol has burnt off.
Time to add the stock. Now, the stock goes in just underneath the skin, so it roasts on top. All that meat under there is going to be submerged. Because what happens in the oven, the top goes crispy as anything, and the stock reduces and braises at the same time. Really important that you bring that back up to the boil before it goes in the oven. Otherwise, it will never boil, never get up to temperature. It smells incredible.
Slow roast the pork belly at 180 degrees for 2.5 hours.
Look at that. You've got that nice, crispy skin on top. You can see how much of the stock has evaporated. Put that onto the board. It looks stunning.
To make a delicious rustic sauce with the flavour-packed contents of the roasting tray, first get rid of the excess fat.
Take a couple of slices of bread. It's like a perfect sponge because you just lay that on top and drag it almost like a net. And it just absorbs all that fat. If you want the perfect fried bread, trust me, stick that in a frying pan. A nice teaspoon of mustard. Whisk that in.
And then simply simmer for a few minutes before pouring into a serving jug.
With your pork belly, always use a nice serrated edge knife. You can hear that. Wow.
My next dish throws a Spanish twist on a classic English roast. Pork stuffed with manchego and membrillo. Use a pork loin roasting joint. Lay the joint skin side down and cut 3/4 of the way into the flesh, creating space for the stuffing. Next, thinly sliced Spanish manchego cheese, this has a wonderful buttery, nutty taste and is fantastic for stuffing as it melts brilliantly. Sliced Spanish membrillo quince jelly, sweet and perfumed, is the perfect partner for the saltiness of the cheese. Then simply layer your cheese and quince jelly into the pork. Add sage leaves for a strong and deliciously bitter flavour. Roll the meat up and tie with butcher's string. Next, add more sage leaves and some aromatic fresh thyme to a roasting tin. Then lay the pork on top, skin side up. Cut a bulb of garlic in half and wedge it under the meat. The garlic wedges help lift the pork so it roasts to perfection and will add a sweet depth of flavour to your gravy. Drizzle with olive oil. Season and roast for just over an hour with the heat on high for the first 20, which helps get the skin crispy and golden. Once cooked, leave the pork to rest as you make a stunning gravy. Simply place the roasting tin over a medium heat, add a glug of sherry and deglaze. Using the roasting juices gives your gravy maximum flavour. Simmer and reduce for a few minutes. Then pour in the incredible resting juices from the pork. Finally, strain the silky rich gravy over the stuffed loin and serve immediately. Stuffed through with incredible flavour, rich, sweet and aromatic, a stunning centrepiece fit to grace any table, anywhere, anytime.